Today I'm going to show you how to mix bass and drum in a hip-hop track. Stick around to find out. What's up guys, Thomas Ray here with Sound Audio Advice, bringing you the latest and the greatest from the universe of audio. Do not miss any of the videos, click subscribe, get the bell going and stay tuned. Okay guys, so here we are in my DAW. This is PreSonus Studio One. On top, as you can see, that's the bass line. Underneath we've got a drum loop. This is a loop, so we don't have separate stems for the drums, but that's okay. And as you can see, the corresponding tracks in the mixer are just here, and that's just my group. We're going to come back to this later. Basically, the whole purpose of it is to give you the fundamentals of how you're supposed to mix bass and drums, so they can sit together nicely, so they can, free up some space at the bottom, get a lot of energy, a lot of dynamics. So this is what we're going to do today, okay? So the first thing, before you even start thinking about anything, right, you have to check your levels, okay? So this is how important those stems here. Let's play them. And I want you to watch the meters, right? So that's the meter for the bass, that's the meter for the drums, and this is your master meter, all right? Let's have a look. Exactly. I'm going to stop it right now because you can see it's just like overwhelming, right? Because that might be the case for many of the sampler loops that you might get from internet, So what you have to do though, you have to select both of them, just there, and bring the faders down. And I mean down, 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 down as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible, just as much that you will have enough headroom. There we go. That's enough headroom. That's a -6. This is my favorite kind of headroom. Well, there we go. So we've got those two stems here at the top. Now, for both of the tracks, I'm going to call them tracks, right? So for both of them tracks, we're going to use two effects and two effects only. There's going to be EQ and a compressor, and the same thing goes for the drums, just the EQ and just the compressor. We just want them to sound as good as possible in correlation to each other. So let's start with the EQ. Switch it on, and what you want to do, we're going to start with the bass, right? You want to get the analyzer going and make sure that's on. Mute the drums, okay, and just listen to the bass. And see what's the peaks like, where is it? So it's like 60, 80, 70, 60. Obviously I'm looking at the hertz of the frequency, so 60, 80. So let's take it as a 70, right? So that'll be our point. There we go. So that'll be 70, okay? And now before you start doing anything, all right, I want you to create another one and do high pass filter. All right, so basically what I would do is going to make a nice, there we go. That will get rid of all the information below, let's say 20 hertz, okay? Because you don't need any of those sounds below that, okay? So there we go, that's all done. So you know that bass works at around 70, and that's fine. I want you to leave it just on the side, okay? I'm just going to put it like that, okay? Now the next one, Now next one, will be a drums, right? So what we're going to do, that's the drums. It's going to be a bit confusing now, so I'm just going to do that. Sorry. That's it. There we go. That's your drums. And now straight away, before you look at the frequency chart, what we're going to do, we're going to get, once again, high pass filter, pretty steep, and just get rid of the information that we don't need, basically, right? Okay. And now, as a rule, the kicks are working anywhere between 60 to 100 hertz. It depends what kind of kick that is, right? So you have to make that decision. You have to make a decision. Where do you want to place your kick? Do you want to place it above the bass or below the bass, right? In that case, I would probably say somewhere around 100 hertz, just because that's the kind of hip hop kick that we're looking for. As you can see, there is plenty of information there for 100 hertz. So what we're going to do, we're just going to boop. There we go. That was a nice sound effect there, Tom. Okay, so we got those 2 points, right? So that's our, actually I'm going to do it all the way around. It'll be much easier to understand. There we go. So that's our bass, as you can see, and that's our kick, okay? And this is the peak points. This is where the frequencies occur, right? So what you want to do, you want to take the 70 hertz, take it to your drums, right? So find that 70 hertz. There we go. And I'll need you to cut it. Not cut it as wide. Cut it somewhere around like that. You know? There you go. And that will do, basically, that will make space in the kick, in the drums for that bass. You know, you can boost it a little bit just to get a little bit of meat. It's not as important. Okay? And you will do the same thing, so 100 hertz for the bass, right? So basically what you do is you making a space for the kick in the bass line. Can you see what's happening here, right? It's like a puzzle thing. So basically, there we go. So basically, you fill it in, if that's your 100 hertz, right? That's your bass. You're taking away, so it makes space for the kick. That's just here, okay? You see how it works, right? And this is just the basic EQing, right? So you're taking away the frequency and the bass, right? So that's your bass. You're taking away the 100 hertz because that's the 100 hertz in the kick, right? And you do the same thing for your drums. You're taking away 70 hertz because that's your frequency in the bass, right? So let's have a listen if there's any significant change and all that. You can feel straight away it's a bit clearer. Excellent. Now what you want to do is to bring some power into that bass line, right? Now with the bass, you don't really have to worry about affecting too much, right? Because the bass needs a lot of compression. That's what that bass love compression, okay? So I'm even going to put it, like, say, ratio 3:1. Okay, that's pretty high ratio. Okay, let's start with just normal settings, default settings in that case, by affecting the threshold, right? So you can hear it straight away, the bass is gone, pretty much. Here, right here you can see how much of the compression is getting applied to the bass line. But that's why we have the makeup gain. This is exactly what it's for, right? So if you're taking away some of the volume, let's say, with the threshold, then you make it up with the gain here, right? That's where we have the makeup gain. So let's check it out. Let's check it without it. And with. There we go. It sounds pretty good, right? So what you want to check too is the attack and the release. I'm going to play about it for a little while. Let's see what it's like. There we go, I think that's pretty fine. I don't know if you noticed, but there we go, start clipping again. So every time you start clipping, what you have to do, just gonna close that. What you have to do is just, again, bring the faders down. Bring the faders down. There we go. Maybe a bit too much. Oh. That's okay. There we go. So that's the compression on the bass done. Okay. Then we're going to do compression on the drums, right? Now, with the drums, the settings are a bit different, right? Because you need this punch. You basically want drums to kick in quicker than the bass. That's why the attack and release will be a bit different, right? So in that case, let's try start it out with 2-to-1 ratio and start affecting it. There you go. So that's the kicks, that's the drums gone. Yeah, that's pretty good. And now release, we want it earlier. Yep, I think that's pretty good. So that's just the basic. Yeah, that's just the basic mixing. You know, you can do it. Listen, it's been like 7 minutes since we started, and you can literally do it so quickly. Now I've got another thing here as a bus. So basically, what I want to do is I want to glue everything together. This is how I mix stuff. So basically, I'm going to channel the bass and the drums into one channel. It's going to just now, right? And then I'm going to apply the glue compression on both of them, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the Fairchild, the Pugchild emulation, right? And I'm going to do it into MS, which is mid and side, right? So basically that'll be the mids, so the energy, and that'll be just the sides. So in that case, that'll be hi-hats, all right? Let's start with this. I'm just going to put, that's the threshold, so I'm just going to put the threshold 1. I don't want to affect it as yet. And there we go, let's bring some energy. And I'll see what's happening when I push the side. There we go. So you can feel there's a lot of bounce in there. You know, there's now they got energy, both the bass and the kick and the snare. I think there is a bit too much of a bass coming in. So what I'm doing, right? I'm just sliding down with the fader. There we go. I also think the snare could have been a bit snappier. So what I'm going to do is coming into my EQ of the drums, 1K, starting 1K, and see what it sounds like, right? So check it out. There we go. And that's basically how you can quickly, and with only 2 plugins there and another one here, you can really quickly and effectively mix the bass and the drums of for the hip hop track, you know, because in the hip hop track you need this bounce, you need this pump, you know. Yeah, it has really nice flow and it's really something that hip hop track needs in general. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.